So the Urban Meyer mess continues to be just that. Jaguars owner Shad Khan released this statement earlier today. I've addressed the matter with Urban. Specifics of our conversation will be held in confidence. What I will say is that his conduct last weekend was inexcusable. I appreciate Urban's remorse, which I believe is sincere. Now he must regain our trust and respect. That will require personal commitment from Urban to everyone who supports, represents, or plays for our team. I'm confident we will deliver. Mike Silver is a talented writer. He works for the NFL Network, and he said, this is on a thread on Twitter, Urban Meyer's situation in Jacksonville has reached a crisis point, especially in the locker room. One player told me he has zero credibility in that stadium. He had very little to begin with. Players were particularly put off by the fact that Meyer canceled Monday's team meeting after he dealt with the uproar over the videos of him and a young woman getting cozy in that Ohio bar. He even canceled a team meeting. He was too scared, a player said. Instead, Meyer only apologized to position groups individually. He portrayed the women in the video as a random person who was just there dancing. Suffice to say, his audience was highly skeptical. Said one player, we looked at him like WTF right when he left. Everyone started dying laughing, and he knew it. Bottom line, said the player, it's bad. I don't know how he's going to function. Okay, so let me give you the reality to it. There are 53 guys in the active roster, roughly 65 in that locker room. Now, of those guys, my guess is probably 30 of them are Urban Meyer guys. Whoever this is obviously not an Urban Meyer guy, does not have any sweat equity with him, and maybe on his way out the door anyway, and clearly doesn't like him to begin with. It doesn't mean he's wrong. It's just we have to carry the context of a likely bias of somebody's opinion, right? When a new coach comes in and a new GM comes in and they're a terrible team, you're going to clean house. If you're not one of their guys, you're on the way out. So I'm very realistic with the possibility, maybe even the likelihood, that this is from one of the players who Urban doesn't like him. He doesn't like Urban. He's not part of the solution. He was going to be gone anyway. He's just like, hey, if I can take Urban down with me, good. I don't like these guys. On the other hand, Urban Meyer does have a credibility problem. It was the day after a game, albeit a game in which guys would have time off. But if you're trying to fix something, why are you hanging for a day to see the grandkids? The apology, I think there's a chance when you're laughing it off because many guys in their position group rooms have been in that situation before. And they understand way better than Urban Meyer what it's like for someone to dance up on you, right? But I do think it's interesting. Can you regain the trust? Man, how do you do that? That's probably the hardest thing to do in any relationship, is to regain somebody's trust. Because you can say, and I mean, do you think Urban Meyer's not going back to college? If he was going back to college, he would have had 2 opportunities last year. Texas was open, and he could have gotten USC. Either he can't get those jobs or he doesn't want those jobs. He's not going back to college. And now with this, it's really hard to get him back to get into a college job right now. It would take probably a year off. But he handpicked this job because you're going to get Trevor Lawrence. If you get a quarterback and you got picks and you got a GM, you build the thing, and it's in a place where he knew guys would be comfortable. He knew guys grew up, whether you grew up in the Atlanta area or you grew up in South Beach, right? It's kind of somewhere in the middle there where you can still get home, see your family, and be a professional player in the NFL in a division that you can win. But man, this is a mess. It's a mess. You know, the 72 Dolphins, Father Time, and you know what are the only undefeated teams, right? And it's pretty obvious that Urban Meyer learned that one the hard way. The hard way. But if you look around here and you say to yourself, okay, so what exactly is going on? What exactly is going to happen next? Man, this is a tough one. It really, really is. Because I look at this deal and I said, Urban Meyer is losing that valuable lesson where your baggage has to outweigh your productivity. In college, first, you're the head coach, you're bigger than anything. But second, he always won. And when you always win, people overlook all the little stuff. You know? And then there's the reality of the fact that they're not winning. If Trevor Lawrence looked like Andrew Luck his rookie year, none of this would matter. But because he doesn't, and because they don't look like their better coach, because of whether it's the Tebow thing, which I think he had good intentions, or any of the other little college type things, or just the fact that he comes from the college and covering college, it freaks some people out when you're going to do something a little bit more rah-rah, a little bit differently. But if you're not winning games, what's that they say in Bull Durham, right? You got some fungus in your shower shoes in the pros. Like, you're colorful. You're winning games, you're colorful. If you do it in the minors, you're gross. Urban Meyer is learning that lesson, which all coaches know, all front office guys know. Your productivity has to outweigh your baggage, or your baggage will get you shipped off. Now, he has a long-term contract with a bunch of money, and I'm sure they'd like to see if they can get him for a cause. I don't think they can get him for cause, and that's probably why he's still the coach. But if this isn't rock bottom, I don't know what is. I like Mike Silver. Mike Silver does have a tendency to always skew on the negative of coaches and front office and on the positive of players. But that doesn't mean that what he has in terms of quotes aren't accurate in terms of who or somebody in that locker room feels that way. I agree. It's a crisis point, but a crisis point doesn't mean he has to go. A crisis point means, all right, let's see how he deals with adversity. Everybody deals with it differently, and the guys who deal with it best are the ones that are going to be the most successful. They got Tennessee this weekend, then Miami, then a bye week. There's a big stretch here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tennessee looks highly beatable right now, plus they're banged up at wide receiver. And Miami is an in-state rival who's not playing good in their own right. He came close against Cincinnati. If he wants to keep his job, he's got to beat Tennessee at home and then Miami, who they'll play, I think, in England, right? They play that game in England.